Alright, hello everyone and welcome to WWE Discussion. I'm your host on WWE Tuesdays, Doug. In today's episode, I'm going to be discussing Monday Night Raw, January 29, 2024 edition. The Raw episode of Raw after the Royal Rumble. Well, it wasn't a great event, but I wouldn't say it was bad. I would say it was somewhere in the middle. This episode of Monday Night Raw, though, was a great episode. A lot to like about this one. I think when there was the unfortunate news with CM Punk, which we'll dive into first, but also Pat McAfee joining Monday Night Raw alongside Michael Cole. Wade Barrett moving to SmackDown. I don't know why people didn't think that wasn't going to happen, but it was. Why would you let go of Wade Barrett? Nonetheless, commentary on Raw is set. Cole and McAfee made a great team when they were together on SmackDown, and they picked up right where they left off. And with that, we're going to get right into the action, starting with Drew McIntyre. Is he the best option to replace CM Punk at WrestleMania? So injuries are an inevitability at any time in WWE due to the high pace of competition, but they are more unfortunate when it happens on the road to WrestleMania, especially when it happens to a guy like CM Punk. He tore his triceps at the Royal Rumble and will be out 4 to 6 months, meaning that he will indeed miss WrestleMania. Hopefully he will recover and get the opportunity to main event WrestleMania next year. However, when one door closes, another opens, and that door might have opened for Drew McIntyre, who made a statement at CM Punk's expense, and then won in the main event of Raw against Sami Zayn. Even though Rollins has already defeated the Scot twice, the champion is vulnerable in a way he was not previously. As the Visionary continues to nurse an MCL tear, McIntyre can build momentum and take advantage of Rollins' injuries to take the gold. The Scottish Warrior remains the best character on Raw, and he will be Punk's first target upon his return from injury. WWE can make McIntyre look unstoppable by the time the best in the world returns, and it all begins with McIntyre officially earning the title shot over potential other names, and then following that up with a bad guy run to ensure his match with Rollins looks entirely lopsided. So, is Drew McIntyre the best option to replace CM Punk at WrestleMania? Right now, I'd have to say yeah. And, again, there is the fact that, yes, this would be running it back a third time with the result of the first two matches kind of hanging over it. It would be a very tough sell. I know the performers involved would do the best they could to sell it. But unless you're planning on having Gunther drop the Intercontinental title at Elimination Chamber and then go on to challenge Rollins at WrestleMania, then, yeah, I think Drew McIntyre is your best option. If not McIntyre, then Gunther. However, WWE should only do Drew McIntyre against Seth Rollins round 3 if McIntyre actually wins this time. It was bad enough when you had Rollins doing the whole back injury thing in dispute with Shinsuke Nakamura, and then Nakamura basically lost twice. Like, what was the point of him having an injury that's supposed to be debilitating, and then he ends up fighting through it? And also Damian Priest not cashing in either too. Taking advantage of that's certainly something. And, speaking of which, Damian Priest still not taking advantage of it either too. So, now that CM Punk is officially out, what does that do for Damian Priest as well too? What are, I don't know what their plans were beforehand, but I imagine those plans have changed now. So what does that look like now? Is Damian Priest actually able to cash in? Do you do Rollins versus McIntyre round 3 and Damian Priest cashes in and takes the title and pins Seth Rollins? I'm very curious to see how they play this one out. I think there is an Elimination Chamber match at the Elimination Chamber Premium Live event to determine who the next challenger is, so I guess we'll have to wait until that match is announced along with the participants. Cody Rhodes. Who should he pick? Should he pick Seth Rollins or should he pick Roman Reigns? Well, WWE teased Cody Rhodes challenging Seth Rollins at WrestleMania 40. It would be foolish for WWE to move away from the match that everyone is anticipating and everybody wants to see more. Perhaps WWE is waiting to create some intrigue, some drama, even though Rhodes has already unofficially made his choice, but the company risks losing fan interest by pushing Rhodes towards fighting in a guy that he has beaten multiple times over someone like Roman Reigns, who he has not beaten and has only had one match against. Delaying what is seemingly the inevitable will only take away from the build and allow for WWE to swerve away from the best thing who can deliver at the show of shows. It also delays the build to find the WrestleMania challenger for Seth Rollins, which is not fair to talent already telling great stories like Drew McIntyre. So should he pick Seth Rollins? The answer is no. Listen, I thoroughly enjoyed the promo segment. Seth Rollins absolutely sold it. And I think if Cody, it wasn't already inevitable that Cody Rhodes was going to be picking Roman Reigns, and I think there would have been a bit more intrigue behind that. But I like what they did. I thought it was smart, but yeah, there's just there's no way that they can pull a swerve and go with Roman Reigns. I mean, you could go, or yeah, you could do Rhodes versus Rollins, but I just don't think there's any sell behind it. Yeah, so I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be Rhodes versus Reigns, and that is what makes people feel any better. According to the Wrestling Insiders, Rhodes versus Rollins is not going to happen at WrestleMania. So there is that. Gunther, so he successfully defended his title against Kofi Kingston, which raises the question of who will be the next man to challenge the Intercontinental Champion. So Gunther has run through nearly every possible challenger in his time as has run through every challenger in his time as Intercontinental Champion, and because of that, the options currently are limited for him on Raw. However, there is one man that has built in some serious momentum, a man that has not stepped across the ring from Gunther in one-on-one action for the Intercontinental title, and that man is Jey Uso. And while Jey is a 14-year veteran with WWE, he's never won singles gold. In fact, he's only just recently gone on a singles run over the course of a year-ish, I would say. For Jey, his primary goal is to win singles gold, and WWE would be foolish to delay that goal. He is over and has been able to stand out on his own. Jey has main evented Raw more times than Gunther in recent months, which makes him look like a higher profile talent in the ring general. However, in a one-on-one matchup, though, Jey would still be the underdog. And Jey winning the Intercontinental title would be a special moment, particularly if you did it on a premium live event. I would say probably like Elimination Chamber. If you can stretch it out to WrestleMania, maybe do that, but I think it feels like Elimination Chamber would be more likely. So a special moment to see him win the title on a premium live event stage, and also, you're taking down the longest reigning Intercontinental Championship or title holder in WWE history, which puts you over even more, makes you even more of a star, and sets up Jey to be the next great workhorse champion for WWE. Bayley. So WrestleMania match against Io Sky will have a great story. Now, the match is not made official. Bayley said she's making her decision Friday, so I guess we'll have to tune in on SmackDown and see how that segment plays out. But Bayley certainly made it seem like she's going to challenge Rhea Ripley, and then Nia Jax interrupted and told her to hold off on that. Well, actually, Nia Jax made it seem like she's going to take the women's title from Rhea Ripley, which then would leave Bayley with a choice of, do you challenge Nia Jax or do you challenge Io Sky? So I like how WWE played out both of the segments for the Royal Rumble winners. There was no announcement made, but there was some intrigue and some drama created. I can imagine that, like I said, Rhea Ripley from Australia, Elimination Chamber in Australia, so she's going to be there. Roman Reigns isn't going to be there, so Rhea Ripley is likely going to main event the show. Who's she going to defend the title against? Well, WWE just told you it was Nia Jax. But back to Bayley, though. While the past few years have seen some of the greatest women's matches of all time at WrestleMania, WWE has struggled with the storytelling aspect of those bouts, and that should change at WrestleMania 40. Bayley may say that she is challenging Rhea Ripley, but it's more likely she will challenge Io Sky instead. The two have been building this story since SummerSlam of 2022 when Damage Control first debuted. Bayley has underestimated the ambition and the genius of the Sky. Sky herself has begun to underestimate just how dangerous a role model can be, which is understandable when you watch her fail time and time again. But she certainly got back on the winning track by winning the Royal Rumble. So something's going to give between these two. Bayley said in her WrestleMania course that the expense of her Damage Control friendships would be a powerful angle and one that would remind everyone of what makes Bayley one of the greats in WWE on the women's side of things. In conclusion, so there weren't any real indicators as to where stories are heading for WrestleMania on this show, but what we did get was a continued commitment to the characters and story in play, and some quality ring work. CM Punk's injury news got things off on a sad note, but the show provided steady commitment to highlighting McIntyre, Zayn, and Bayley, all while giving 3 quality matches mixed in. The mid-show promo of Seth Rollins was great and created drama for Cody Rhodes on his path to WrestleMania. The show had the task of grabbing the attention of fans while watching to find out what happened at the Royal Rumble and what the fallout would be. And it accomplished that thanks to some quality stories, good booking, and stellar in-ring work. And with that, that will conclude this episode of WWE Discussion. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to hit that like and subscribe button down below.